I don't plan to turn, and I didn't plan to turn this public hearing into the core debate over the budget reduction, but the superintendent apparently wishes it to go there. I'll do my best seeing this information for the first time. First of all, let's understand what the contrary position is. The contrary position is a proposal for a budget just under $65 million, which is about $2.8 million below the budget that the Budget Committee voted to accept. The question was asked, how was the figure arrived at? And many people have been following this. I'll go through it in just a little bit of detail so that we know how we got here. I presented to the Budget Committee in October, arguing with evidence that Timberlane has approximately 76 staff more than required when compared with other school districts that produce as good or better results. And that the staffing level has to be a key consideration in budgeting, because we've seen our budgeting going up year by year by year while our enrollment goes down. What's the cause of that? Simple. Our staffing level has barely budged since we had peak enrollment in 2007, 2008. That year we were just under $700 full-time, just under 700 full-time equivalent staff. This year, current year, 2014-15, we're still just under 700 full-time equivalent staff. So you keep the same staff, salary steps and benefits keep going up, naturally costs are going to rise. And all the while, enrollment has been, and one of the words that some people don't like to hear, plummeting. Since 2007, 2008, we're down 880 students to the current year, and we're going to be going down further next year. So, can we keep some kind of an intelligent, reasonable balance between staffing and the student population that we have to serve while still delivering a quality of education? In order to answer that question, I looked at nearby comparable school districts, similar size, similar problems to ours, that are doing at least as good a job at educating their students. One of the districts that I mentioned, just because the contrast is so stark, Hudson School District has almost exactly the same enrollment as Timberlane, but Timberlane just under 700 staff, Hudson just under 500 staff. Now, I know that there are Timberlane has different problems. We have to deal with issues related to the fact that we're a cooperative district. We run smallish elementary schools town by town, but 200 staff difference between Hudson and Timberlane, almost the identical student population. Hudson isn't my only comparison. I just bring that one up because it makes the comparison so stark. So, I evaluated the staffing using metrics from the Department of Education. My evaluation is that we could be delivering with a staff around 610, 612. That's about 76 fewer than we have on staff this year. Now, 76 is a very large decrease in a single year. I have not advocated taking a decrease in 76 staff in a single year. I recommended to the Budget Committee a budget based on half that amount of reduction, 39 staff, salary and benefits at an average combined salary of benefits of $80,000. It's about $3.5 million from the $68 million mark that was presented to the Budget Committee when certain initial adjustments had been made. $68 million still included $750,000 that could have been used to keep Sandown Central open, for example. But I recommended this reduction as a first step. So if you want to know where the $3.5 million figure came from, that's where it came from. If you want to know what the cut that we're going to be recommending at deliberative, it's not $3.5 million from where we are now. It's a budget of just under 65, which is a cut of about 2.8 million. So that's the discussion behind it in broad terms. I'd like to make one more point about it, and this goes to the presentation that Superintendent Metzler made. First of all, he presented two alternatives that involved draconian expense cuts and very significant reduction in services and user fees. The $65 million budget that I'm proposing has no cuts to a penny of the expenses requested by the administration and funded in the budget that the budget committee has voted. The 67.7 million that's in front of us right now. All of the expense requests of the administration are there. One single exception. It's minus $18,000 for a PR consultant that this district does not need. Other than that, everything that the district asked for in terms of transportation costs, in terms of facility improvements, in terms of curriculum materials and costs, the money to pay for energy usage, everything is there intact. So there's no prima facie need for any cuts to any services provided. Now,
point of order.
Excuse me.
Mr.
This has been an opportunity that I did not seek, but Dr. Metzler offered.
Mr. Green, we're pausing for a moment for a point of order.
Are we discussing a motion that failed with the budget committee, or are we discussing the budget tonight?
We're answering a question from a member of the public. So, Dr. Metzler said, okay, but what about the staffing cuts? Well, if you want to get 39 staffing cuts, you have to double that because you're going to take huge increases in your unemployment expenses. All right, that's an interesting argument, and I'm sure that the staffing cuts can be arranged in such a way that they would generate a huge unemployment liability. No doubt that can be done. Keep in mind, this past summer,
Mr.
the
Green.
the district filled 65 open positions.
Mr. Green.
The district filled 65 open positions in the summer.
Mr.
So,
Green.
Tell me how many would actually need to be laid off to get to a reduction of 39.
Mr. Green. Anyone else? Mrs. Green.
Thank you. I would like to first, can you hear me? Thank you. This presentation was not vetted with anyone. I just want the audience to know that we were waylaid by this presentation, which I consider electioneering. But I would like to compliment the administration for putting so much work into this, certainly more work than was presented in the plan to close Sandown Central.
Mrs. Green, if we could keep our sarcasm to a minimum.
It's not sarcastic.
Let us stay professional in
Thank
this
you.
forum, please.
I'd also like to mention that although it looks like the budget is conservative and respectful, and it's only up 0.58%, it encompasses closing a school. So the operating budget for a school has been removed from this budget, and a service has been dropped. Driver's ed is no longer in there. And with all of these reductions, the district cannot bring in a negative budget. They still have to ask for an increase. This is not conscientious. This is not understanding the situation of the voters who have tax liabilities. Thank you. Oh, and I just want to make one more point, that the number of FTEs that were cut 12 of those FTEs were vacant positions. So it's not as though there is actually any cutting going on here. They were vacant positions that were carried in the budget, and they were just removed. Thank you.